Transfair is based in Oakland. He has hosted a number of interns from Pacific. He has one now, Dominica Peterson, who's joining us too. She's a former graduate of SIS and also the former president of the Council of University Social Entrepreneurs, is coming in to help honor Paul. And Paul's organization, Transfair USA, is responsible and the only certifying agency for fair trade coffee, tea, and cocoa in the United States. Fair trade meaning that the producers of the product get a fair wage for what they produce. And I think I could tell you for hours about all the honors that he's achieved. But what I really want to tell you about is Paul himself and very briefly his story. Because it starts in a region it's called the Segovia region of Nicaragua. I've been there many times. It's isolated, it's rough, it's tough territory. And instead of being someone that goes to college, has a great idea, doesn't really go out to see the world, he bought a one-way ticket. This is typical, quintessential Paul Rice. He bought a one-way ticket to Nicaragua, worked with coffee farmers there for not 11 months, but 11 years. Saw what they were doing, saw the issues and the problems that they were experiencing, and he decided he wanted to do something about it. He was able to tap into the European markets and was able to convince the coffee farmers to actually give him their coffee on consignment, and he would make sure that he could get a good deal for them. He wasn't quite sure he could get a good deal for them, but he was going to try his hardest. Well, he came back, sold it to the European market as a fair trade product, which we didn't even know the term at that point in time. And all of a sudden, they found that their profits quadrupled from the sale that he was able to engineer in that market. So what did he do? He came back. Well, first of all, he married in Nicaragua, and that's important. Came back to the States, found a room upstairs in an abandoned warehouse in Oakland, and decided that he had an epiphany when he had spent those 11 years there in Nicaragua, that he would form an organization that not only would help those coffee farmers in Nicaragua, but also would be able to help farmers and other producers all over the world. And he started Transfair USA. He decided, this is certainly something I want to make sure I acknowledge to all the people here from the School of Business, to really do this right, decided he better go back to school and get an MBA, and he got it at Berkeley. And the organization that he has created has made a change around the world, the ripple effect that he's been able to create. They are now into fair trade wine, fair trade flowers, fair trade garments and textiles, and I'm sure there's many other fields that you've gotten into, Paul. And it's been those areas, I think, that again are changing people's lives. And it's not one person at a time, but it's one whole industry at a time. So without any more further ado from me, I want to tell you as a personal friend and a colleague of yours that we are absolutely honored to have you here tonight to celebrate with us these 10 Ambassador Corps interns and to continue our strong friendship with you and this friendship that you've built and the partnership that you've built here with Pacific. So come on down, Paul.
Can you hear me? Ooh. How's that? How y'all doing? Yeah? So it is a wonderful pleasure and honor to be here tonight and to join in the celebration of these incredible global ambassadors and their journey, and as Jerry so well puts it in the note that he writes in tonight's program, blazing new trails. And I'm so proud to be among so many young people who are hearing the call and stepping up to the call that we all feel now to do our part, to save the planet. So thank you. Thank you very much for having me tonight. You know, I really value deeply the notion of this ambassador program, which enables, with small financial contributions, enables young people to go abroad and learn, and hopefully contribute a little bit too, but underscore learn. And I had my own experience with this and a different kind of program, but as a junior in college, I got a small grant, $1,000 grant to go to Nicaragua in the summer between junior and senior years and study the land reform and the co-op movement that was going on at that time in Nicaragua. And this was back in the old days when $1,000 was enough to buy you a round-trip plane ticket and keep you in rice and beans for the summer. I think they probably gave me 1,000 silver coins or something like that. And so I went, and I spent the summer working on a farm and learning about farming, trying to plow a straight row with a wood plow and a team of oxen, and my row always went like this, of course. And learning about the land reform and the struggle for land and the co-op movement and that, very fundamental notion that when people get together and help each other, they can move forward much more quickly. And that experience was transformational. It really, for me, cemented my course. It made me decide I wanted to spend my life working for social justice and working with farmers, and it made me realize that my place was in Nicaragua. And so I went back. And so I really value this vision of providing that small financial support to enable these wonderful, wonderful students to go abroad and begin their learning journey and see where it takes them. And we're going to hear about that in a few minutes. I am very honored to sit on the advisory board of the Global Center for Social Entrepreneurship here. And so Jerry asked me to share a few reflections about social entrepreneurship with you this evening, and about fair trade, which is my particular model for change. We've all heard the various definitions of social entrepreneur that are out there, right? So a social entrepreneur, it is said, is someone who brings a market-based approach to social change. Someone who tries to harness the power of markets and of business. Someone who brings the tools of business and of management to the task of social and environmental change. We've been called change makers. When I came home after winning the Ashoka Award and told my mom, they're calling me a social entrepreneur now, she said, is that what they call crazy-ass fools these days? Thanks, Mama. But there is this crazy-ass fool element to us, as illustrated by Jerry's story about the one-way ticket, which is true. Of course, the part you didn't tell is that that's all I could afford. That's why I bought the one-way ticket to Nicaragua, because that's all I could afford. But my journey took me to Nicaragua because what I really wanted to do in that summer of '83 after graduating was I wanted to work with farmers. I wanted an on-the-ground experience. And I went thinking I would stay for a year or two and get some field experience, get some tools, and then, come back to the States and do something acceptable, normal, something that wouldn't have my mama calling me a crazy-ass fool. But I stayed. I stayed for 11 years, and for much of that time, I worked on one agricultural development project after another, and that's what I knew I wanted to do. I wanted to work with farmers, I wanted to work on ag development, and so the projects that I worked on were, very typical of this whole model of approach to poverty in the developing world. So these were very well-intentioned projects designed by very well-intentioned people sitting in capitals around the world and sending literally millions of well-intentioned dollars to Nicaragua to alleviate poverty, right? And in some ways I was living my dream. I grew up in Austin, Texas, and I'd always, played cowboy when I was a kid, and so on this job I got to wear cowboy boots and ride a horse up into the mountains most days of the week. I mean, that was pretty cool.